All right, welcome everybody to our latest Live Motocross podcast as we talk all things Arlington and look ahead to Daytona with the great man Jeff Beaver from Whiskey Throttle. But before we welcome him, we'd like to thank the sponsors In Fly Racing, 24MX, Dirt Store, and Fuchs Clean for all their support. As without them, none of this would be possible. All right, Jeff, how's life? And thanks again for joining us, mate. It was another cracker at Arlington, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an interesting round, man. Unfortunately, another rider got hurt bad and is out probably for the rest of the season. And unfortunately, Chase got hit by a bike that flew off the track, and Chase from Swap Moto, he got his leg snapped, and hell, he had to have surgery to rebuild his leg, and he's stuck in the hospital in Dallas, what it looks like for a couple weeks because they're worried about compartment syndrome. So yeah, that really sucked because Chase is a really good guy, young dude, and really doing good things in the sport. And he got tore up pretty bad, man. That sucks. Not a good deal.
Yeah, we wish him all the best for his recovery and big shout out to him and anyone that can support him. He's got a GoFundMe sort of a page going, doesn't he, mate?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, check that out, everyone. And yeah, we wish him a speedy recovery. But yeah, onto the racing, mate. The Triple Crown, I guess they delivered again, didn't they? It was a big sort of attendance at that one. The vibes were good with the military appreciation round. It's chaos for those teams and mechanics and the riders too, but it's good for the fans. And how was it for you as well, filming, mate? A lot of action to get stuck into.
Yeah, it was definitely a good round. For me, I was by myself and kind of the end of a 7 week run, so I wasn't feeling the hottest. So um energy level wasn't at a 10 like it normally is at the races, and there was a lot of things that got caught on film that I wasn't there for or I just missed, but whatever, it's how it goes. But I did get some pretty cool stuff. I got Chase swapping in the whoops, and excuse me, and unfortunately got Jordan going down. Caught that. I was going through the red zone to the green zone, and I had my camera rolling, and I saw it and just kind of pointed towards it and hoped I got it, which I did. But that sucked for that guy, dude. Oh, what a brutal fucking slam. That was just absolutely gnarly. But yeah, great round. That's my favorite stadium. Vibes were high. You always got to love the military appreciation. It just everybody in the paddocks kind of pumped up on it, and like just the military theme. And they had a bunch of vets come down on um, press day and do a bunch of cool stuff. It was really neat.
Yeah, mate, they do it so well over there. Obviously, yeah, really pay the respects well, mate. And I guess to start with the 450s, Cooper Webb got the job done, mate. Pretty opportunistic, was there to pick up the pieces with the Chase Sexton having those dramas in the final one, mate. Didn't even need the finger guns like we were sort of talking about, like you mentioned last week. But yeah, it's not a good one for Chase, a great one for Webb again. Gets the points lead outright. But yeah, that was some crazy racing in that third one. And just Webb just keeps banking the points. He doesn't really feel the pressure. He's unfazed and he just picks it up, doesn't he?
Yeah, he's a opportunistic guy. I mean, you nailed it on the head. He said at the beginning of this preseason that he's hard to beat in 17 rounds, and he's proving it because he is one of the fastest, but he doesn't get talked about as the fastest. But he's definitely probably the smartest dude out there on the track, dude. You know, he's always going to be right there, and if you screw up, he's going to ride by. And damn well when Chase hit the back of him, he was just kind of ha ha, laughing himself like game. It's my game now. And he's the master of manipulating stuff out there on the track and just kind of head game stuff. So yeah, I think he's gonna be hell on wheels come Daytona. I mean, Chase is gonna bring it, but yeah, if there's any mistakes being made, he's gonna go for the gold.
Yeah, obviously he continued that excellent run at Arlington. He's just a machine there. And I guess from Sexton, mate, you got that awesome footage of him just soul searching on the side of the track, mate. You had to feel for him. And I suppose in a lot of ways he could have just settled and grabbed the win, but that's just not in his makeup, is it? He wanted to put the flex on. He wanted to go get that win, beat Webb, sort of do it all. But yeah, it just didn't work out there, mate. Obviously the stall and then the crash. But yeah, I guess how does he bounce back from that adversity, mate? putting himself in tough positions the last few weeks, and it's just can't be good for the mental state, mate. So, what was your take on it, sitting right there, seeing it unfold in person?
Well, he's left what 10 points on the table the last couple races, and that's going to be really, really hard for him at the end of the season. Uh, Most likely, he's going to really wish he had those 10 points, even if he wins the title. A 10 point cushion is a 10 point cushion, and you got to respect the fact that he said in the press conference he knew that he had the overall, but he wanted to win. How can you fault the guy for that? Uh, sure, Roger and Ian were less than pleased, and I kind of wonder if half of that sitting on the side of the track was like, "Oh fuck, I'm in for it now, dude." These guys are gonna wring my neck, but maybe a little disappointment that it ended up like it did, and he was gonna catch some shit for it, but. He's just the guy wears his heart on his sleeve, and he tries as hard as anybody, if not the hardest. So, I mean, I respect as a kind of a warrior mentality that he didn't want to settle for second. He wanted to win it, but when you're looking at that bonus check at the end of the season and that number one plate, sometimes you've got to not win every battle to win the war.
Yeah, well said, mate. He's definitely given up some dollars just in those bonus and the win bonuses, hasn't he, mate? So I guess it doesn't really seem to phase him because he just wants to win outright and get the points and keep banking it and get another title, mate. But I guess Kenny Roxon ended up picking up second overall because obviously he capitalised on that situation too. Not far off winning that overall, mate. He's getting there. He obviously admitted that he needed some more speed, like you were there in the press conference, which is not something you often need from Kenny's speed, but just that powering through to the end and the middle of those races. It's so hard. Those guys have really got it picked up. So close to winning. Do you think he gets one, mate? And just your thoughts on his event?
He gets one if we get lucky, but if Jet was in there and Tomac was in there, you know, let's be honest, Roxon would not be on the podium. He'd be fifth or sixth. Would Hunter be beating him? No, I think he's got an edge on Hunter at the moment. Hunter was not lighting the world on fire this year. With that new bike, it's something's just he hasn't clicked with it yet. But if Jet and Eli were in there, yeah, I don't think we'd be talking about Roxon at all, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, it's an interesting one to follow. He's probably still just in the hunt there, and you'll keep working and just see if the other guys can have some more missteps. That's the key thing to it. You got to just stay up in this Supercross series, as we've seen. There's just so many guys going down. And your take on Justin Cooper's ride, really great starts, putting himself in some excellent positions. He's really not far off his actual, aside from the whoops, everything else is so dialed, but he just needs to fill them in. But I suppose on a track like Arlington, it wasn't such a bad idea. You see so many dudes go down the whoops, so the jumping kind of worked out there, didn't it? But a lot of things going in the right direction for him, isn't there?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of almost reminds me of Ricky's first couple of years. Ricky just crashed his brains out, and he had that lovely 99 KX that they said no changes, and they changed the headset on it and all that shit, and it was just a horrible bike, and they had to deal with that. But like Ricky, it took him a couple seasons to figure it out, right? And then it clicked, and he went on a tear. Now I don't know if Coop's going to do that, but you look at how consistent those starts were at Glendale, and he's got the speed. It's just he's building his base and clicking off. And I don't think he'll get a win this year, but I think in 26 he's going to have enough time on that bike if they don't change the bike in 26. I think he's going to be pretty damn dangerous, dude. I just think he's one of those guys who he's going to ride to his level and click his boxes and then take the next steps. And he's a pretty intelligent kid, so I'm pretty stoked for him. I thought those starts were badass, and he's riding really, really well. It's just he's putting his time in. Rome wasn't built in a day, and some of these guys, especially a lot of the fans, they expect a guy to come in and win immediately, and if they don't, well, he's dog shit. Well, that's not the case. The guy's putting his life on the line every time he goes out there, and the gate drops, and he's got a wife at home and things to think about, and peeling himself off the concrete is not probably high on his priority list. So I would think you just tick your boxes and build your base up and your confidence up and just start kicking ass, you know? I mean, look at Cody Schock a couple years ago. He wasn't on anybody's radar really in Supercross, and now he's second place behind Hayden, you know, and that guy built his base up and got on a good program and just did his work, and it's now starting to pay off for him. So I think Cooper's kind of on that plan. You know, you put in your time, you figure everything out, and then it'll click.
Yeah, that's great insight there, mate. Well said. Yeah, there's a lot to be said for just being smart, measured, making every gate drop, building the experience, building the reps, building the fitness base. And you got to give him credit too, because that competition, like you said, it's stacked. You can't just go in there and have it all your own way, straight from, 250 to 450 in Supercross. It's not happening. So he's given himself that plenty of time. It's a couple of years now. I guess he's been in and around that 450 class doing a few different racing programs within Star, the way his schedule worked out. But yeah, good on him. Just good to see him building. And I guess another Justin Hill. How good was that, mate? Seeing him get Q1, fifth overall. What a great night of work for him again, mate. He's happy on the bike. He's happy with himself. He's in a really good spot in so many levels, mate. So how good is it just seeing him rip some of those sections?
Oh, dude, he was getting after it pretty good. I really wasn't following the scoring pylon to see where everybody was at. I was kind of focusing on a few key sections and people I wanted to get, and I hear him say, Justin Hill's at the top of the leaderboard. I'm like, whoa. I mean, he looked like he was riding good, but I'm like, really? And hell, he was almost a full second faster than anybody. And in his deal, he said, I just put together a perfect lap, which he did. But I this morning I posted a shot of him going through the whoops, and he got bucked and went completely sideways for the end of the whoops section, and still managed to triple out into the bowl turn before the start finish, or I mean the finish line. And it's like, dude, that guy's bike skills are so ridiculous, dude, and he's pretty much in the best shape of his life, and his mental game is. You're not gonna mess with that dude's mental game. He's tougher than $2 steak, right? And so seeing him do his thing and get a top five, that was sick. And I would not be surprised if he has a podium or two in him before the end of the season.
Oh, yeah, it's so good seeing him out there and just up there with the heavy hitters, isn't it? And I guess you look down the list, Barsha sixth, AP, bit of a bounce back for seventh. Good to see him back in the mix. Got the start, obviously, but then it didn't quite go to plan. He rode off there. But yeah, Ferrandis, Stewart ninth, Savachi 10, and Anderson 11th. Obviously got second in the last one, Anderson, but that tangle with Barsha, he was involved in some pretty hefty battles, mate. But any of those guys you'd like to touch on?
Just yeah, Barsha and Anderson didn't have the best weekend. I didn't. I just sometimes I think that those tracks just don't click for those guys, and they just get through it, right? And they had a tangle, and the two of those getting together is classic, right? Two of the gnarliest dudes in the sport banging bars, and I don't know the whole scenario behind it, if they were jacking with each other or just happened to have a racing incident. But yeah, just uh, seemed like nothing really clicked for Jason until the end of the third main, and he ended up getting that second. He just boned out, took off, gone. He probably just wanted to put it behind him. I think a lot of those guys, those triple crowns. 'Cause I know Cooper said I think he raced up to damn near 60 laps. I'm pretty sure at the end of those third motos, even those guys are like, "Yeah, I'm over it. I'm out. Let's go." Unless you're on the box, to hell with this. I want to go home. Takes a lot out of those guys.
Yeah, it's a serious amount of work, mate. Well said. Obviously, you don't realize that the short sharp, but yeah, they're just clocking laps and just tracks ever changing, getting ever sketchier. So there's a lot to be said for the fitness and I guess just the mindset to keep going after it, mate. The danger, the risk, they're absolute weapons. And onto the 250s now, mate. How was it? Deegan brought the heat, pulled it all together this time around. Obviously, would like those starts to be a bit better. He was in fine form in the post-race comments and the press conference there, mate. But he had a fair bit of adversity to face and he came back. He was just making up time left, right, and centre. He's obviously changed the program away from Christian Craig onto the Swanee one with the other guys, mate. But yeah, he's a man to beat, isn't he? He's finally put that flex down. And with Jordan Smith going out, Juju having the dislocated shoulder, it was all him, wasn't it?
Oh, okay, I didn't know Juju dislocated his shoulder. I was kind of wondering what the hell happened to him. Did he dislocate it in the time off or something?
No, in the practice, the time sessions. Yeah, he did it before the racing started. So yeah, he just popped it back in and he wants to just keep racing out the series and see if he can fight for this title still. And that's why he raced and didn't probably get the best results.
Ah, okay. Well, that explains a lot of it. I mean, I've been so busy. I just got home yesterday afternoon from Texas, so I haven't even watched the races. I'm going to watch them this afternoon, but um, yeah, Deegan. I talked to Duff at the beginning of the weekend and his filmer, and they're all, dude, you should see him. He's ripping. I go, really? And they go, yeah. We got some stuff dialed in the time off just since he got back on the bike. And Deegan said in the press conference that it's nothing against Christian, but he just kind of took off doing his own thing with Christian, and he wasn't getting the intensity of running with the hyenas, as Eli calls them. And I think that guy thrives on intensity, dude. He could be in an old folks home in a wheelchair, and he's gonna be wheeling himself down the hallway the fastest, and when he's 80 years old, that's just who that kid is, right? And he just wants to win and he wants to be badass. But I think if there's nobody there to quote unquote kick the shit out of it, probably maybe he gets bored or a little lost. But when he's around people, it's game on, and that's where that kid shines. So I think it was probably smart for him to go back and be with the hyena pack and kicking ass, because he was on rails, dude. His corner speed was ridiculous. Coming into the sand section and taking that left, dude. Uh, I put a video up. It almost looks like I fast forwarded the video through the corner. Dude, he just point, pivot, and shoot, and he was gone. And I was like, damn, dude, kid's on it. And then he used some good race smarts, in that third moto. I think he could have caught up and went 1-1-1, but with, I think it was like 4 minutes to go. I was watching his lap times, and then it dropped off like 4 seconds, and I go, okay, he made the decision to back it off, and he knows he's got the overall, and he's just gonna bring it home, and he did, and um, good on him, smart. He's got the red plate now, and he got a weekend off, and then they go into the East West shootout, and it's gonna be pretty badass.
Yeah, it's all the signs are going in his direction now, mate. And obviously, some words on Cody Shock. Obviously, asked him a great question in the press conference. He got that second, mate. So awesome for him. The starts were good. The riding was excellent. Sending it fast through those whoops and really cool, statement ride, statement performance. And he gets that podium, mate. So a lot of hard work, tears over the years, mate. Sweat, injuries, adversity. Obviously, he's been working so hard with that Club MX team, which he's found a great home there, mate. He's absolutely loving it there. And good stuff for the team too, mate. They work super hard. They've had a few great runs, a few rough runs, but yeah, everyone was pretty happy to see Cody second and Club getting up there too.
Oh yeah, it was sick. I went and had dinner with all those guys Friday night. Cody was with his fiance, so he didn't go, but I went and had dinner with the team. We went to some killer barbecue spot, and um, it's just shooting the shit with everybody, and the whole team's just vibing and doing good. And I mean, Jet got himself a top 10. That was sick. And he's not lighting the world on fire per se, but he's just getting through it and building his confidence and his strength and all that. But the whole team is just, they're perched to really help those guys be the best they can be. And Cody is just fucking excelling, dude. And Jeff doesn't like to run a lot. I ran my fat ass from the finish line over by the whoops around past the start. Just move, 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 move. People are like, oh shit, here comes a stampede of filmers, and I just had to get in there and get him coming off the bike with Dakota. And in Detroit, Dakota is Cody's mechanic, and I've hit it off pretty well with that guy the last couple years. We see each other and just immediately start talking shit to each other. It's kind of funny. It's like who can diss each other first is our game. And I saw him in the tunnel in Detroit. He was just there helping the boys on the East Coast, helping Max and them. And I said, "How's things going for you guys on the off break?" And he goes, "Man," he goes, "Cody was in kind of a his comfort zone, and he goes, I knew he could do better, and he goes, I told him we got to go another 10%. We got to push you. We got to push you. And shit, look at him. He got his podium. So that's why I asked him. Hey, Dakota said you guys pushed another 10%, and he goes, well, you and me are gonna find out if I got more in the tank. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? We're gonna go roll around in the fucking rock? But I guess we're just gonna find out if he's got more. Has he tapped out with what he can do this year, or is there more in the tank? Can he get that number one? And it was kind of cool because I think he sat there and thought about it for a minute, and he really started going off, and it was funny as shit. Him talking about being the only guy from Delaware. Nobody even knows where Delaware is at. He's got a good personality, funny kid. But all I wanted to do is kind of spark him up to talk. I mean, everybody's in the press conference, obviously going to talk to Deegan and how about Moseman getting a third?
Mm.
I never thought I'd see that guy on a podium again. But to see Cody up there, and I was like, no, I'm not just going to ask him some slapdick question. I'm going to ask him something that kind of makes him think and kind of talks about where he's at and what he's got. And him and Deegan have had a on again, off again, little deal going on. I know Deegan put him over a berm a couple years ago, I think at Salt Lake, and then Cody tried to run it back in on him this year, and now they're sitting there onesie and twosies. So I just kind of wanted to stir the pot a little bit and see if I could what I could get out of him, and I was thoroughly happy with his answer.
Yeah, no, it's cool stuff, mate. Always great to see the success stories like that. The blokes just putting in the work. They just love it. They're fully passionate, invested in it for so many years, and yeah, the results come. And Moseman too, mate. He's been riding pretty well. Obviously, the starts and the early laps had been a bit of adversity in those earlier rounds, but yeah, he pulled it together, mate. Awesome to get that podium for him too. Yeah, it's been a lot of ups and downs for him on the road to recovery, I guess, and he was just about contemplating giving it up at one point. So to see all those Yamaha dudes, obviously three Yamahas on the podium, but those, especially the second and the third spot, it shows you just keep fighting and you can still achieve great things. It just takes a bit of time, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I just hope he can keep it together. I get really scared that he had that good podium and then he's gonna just go eat shit at Daytona because that's been his MO. He has a really good round, gets a race one, and then just weeds himself. And I don't know if it's overconfidence or what, but he's just got a track record of good slap, and he's out for a long time, and then good slap, he's out for a long time. So I hope he's broke that cycle.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Well said. And obviously, touch on a couple of more 250 guys before we wrap up. And obviously, Smith, we touched on that injury, brutal. Just he was winning that race, looking comfortable, and then those whoops caught him out. And we wish him all the best for his recovery. And then Cole Davies as well. Had a bit of a rough one, a bit of some early drama, but yeah, he's put it together in that last one. Continued to show what a talent he is and that personality shining through, mate. He did that interview on the broadcast with the Monster Energy sombrero. Pretty funny stuff there, mate. So cool for those dudes. Garrett Marchbank, solid effort coming back from that shoulder injury. He's still got a fair bit to deal with there. And obviously Shimoda as well. A couple of weeks off. Just trying to get that hand as good as possible, mate. So there's a lot of talent in that class. And yeah, hopefully they can all keep making ground at the next one and stay fit, most importantly.
Yeah, I mean, we've still got a lot. I mean, they say Daytona's halfway through the season, but I mean, we still got a lot of racing to do, and I think Shimoto should be pretty good to go in the next couple weeks. And same with Garrett. I was stoked that Garrett got a fifth, and yeah, it's just a long road, and those guys have just got to keep it together because the 250 and 450 class is quickly becoming a battle of attrition.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Just a couple of words on the SLR Honda guys. Parker Ross getting 14th overall with a best of 10th in the third race. Obviously, Billy didn't make it, but yeah, really cool to see those guys every week when they're racing, isn't it, mate?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, Parker, I love that kid. He's such a little shit. He's a ham, and I think that kid's got a bright future, and he's got a good personality. So when he starts making the podiums, his podium speeches are probably going to be pretty comedy, dude. And yeah, old Billy, he didn't have his life alert button on. We were out at the Honda test track a couple weeks ago, and I'm sitting there playing with his dog Bingo, and he goes, "I'm gonna head out," and it was still muddy. It was in the morning. I'm like, "I'm not going out there for have fun, you know. You guys knock the mud off the track, and then I'll cruise out and film, because they're not gonna ride real fast when there's a bunch of mud on top, right?" And I turn around to go play with the dog, and I hear everybody go, "Oh shit!" And they go running, and I look and I go, "Where's Billy?" And he literally just rolled on the track, took a left, and he pulled into a bull turn in first gear, doing like 2 miles an hour, and the front end just tucked on him, and he went over the, you know, went for a ride down into the mud, but he jammed his left wrist. Hadn't broke anything, but it's just bugging him to where, it's not safe for him to go out there and go 100% ride. So he's being smart, but the next round he'll be at, I think, is Seattle. And if it's raining up there, I think he'll probably wait until Denver.
Fair enough, mate. Yeah, the weather could get a bit
Billy grew
nasty.
up in Ramona. Billy's a Southern California kid. He's San Diego. Billy don't like mud. Billy ride around the mud, man. He'd be like, "Yeah, I'm good. That's where the I'm kind of retired mentality will come through. Old Billy ain't gonna go get his gear muddy. He gonna sit home."
Oh, let's go, mate. Yeah, good on him. We wish him all the best and can't wait to see him back out there, mate. And obviously, any final thoughts before we wrap up, mate? What's the week ahead looking like for you, the crew at Whiskey Throttle? The content's been dialed, mate. You're crushing it. Really awesome stuff. So just give us a quick rundown of what lies ahead.
I'm packing up and leaving for I don't know, 6 7 week run in the refineries and gold mines. So I'm out until Seattle, and then after that, I'm out again until New York. So I did my 7 weeks, and I got one more here in about a month, and then I'm out again for a couple more weeks. But we're taking Daytona off. Nobody's going to Daytona. It's just, I don't know. It's just way expensive and gnarly. It's all the way on the other side of the country. It's just, I'm over it, right? So we can take a break, and I'm going to enjoy my Saturday and sit on the couch and be a fan and watch the race at home on my 82-inch big screen like I did used to do back in the day. And it's going to be great. My wife's going to be gone. She's going skiing on Friday with some of her friends. So I got the house to myself, an 82-inch big screen, and a Supercross race. So I'm dialed, bro. And then I take off and go to work. But the good thing is we got Nathan, and Nathan's going to go out and cover Indy and Birmingham, and he's going to do Boston and Philly, and then we're going to do 16 of the 17 rounds. So we won't have much coverage. We'll have a little coverage coming in from Daytona, but yeah, nothing. Not going to kill us to take a weekend off and recoup.
Yeah, well said, mate. You guys do a massive job doing it. It is expensive and it's a lot of time and effort and planning and actual just sheer work getting the content like you do, mate. You're hauling. So, yeah, definitely can't begrudge you a week off, mate. You can enjoy it, just rest up. And obviously, the work and the moto, they're just keeping you flat out. So, thanks again for taking the time on this one, mate. You're a bloody legend. And obviously, thanks to the sponsors In Fly Racing, 24MX, Dirt Store, and Fuchs Silverline. That's been the great man, Jeff Beaver from Whiskey Throttle on the latest Live Motocross podcast. Cheers again, mate. We'll speak soon.
All right, thanks, brother.
No worries, mate. Have a good one.